Of that 36%, it'll give 11% to shareholders of MTN. So MTN will end up with 25, and Barty will list on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange.
But if you're a shareholder here, Barty are coming to you for 36% of your shares, for which they'll pay you 86 Rand plus half a share, half a Barty share.
And Barty will be listed on the JSE.
Yeah, so it's not an easy one to understand. You have to go through it carefully.
Important point is that MTN's share price was up 9% today, and that we had a stock that was trading in early March at 85 Rand, closing today at 130 Rand.
Right.
So you have made, in the last 3 months, 41%. Not bad going.
That's a big deal. It also dominated trade today because, remember, US and UK were closed for public holidays, so we did 1.8 billion rands worth of trade in MTN today in I think a 5 or 6 billion rand day, so a lot of activity.
Big news. Two other stories that are worth picking up, and the first is the gold output. Felicity did note that gold production in South Africa is down 5% year on year in the first 3 months, but on the quarter on quarter, it's down 10%, and that means, and I'm sure a lot of people will find this surprising, South Africa sold gold that was worth about 12.75 billion rands. That's all. It's not a huge, massive industry like it used to be, and that was in the first 3 months of this year. And that was down by more than 1.33 billion rand on the previous quarter. So if we see the trade figures looking a little bit dodgy, we can't really blame the gold, because R1 billion in the South African trade in a whole quarter is not really much.
It's not much, and I think we used to produce 1,000 tons. We're now producing, I think, just under 200 tons. 200 tons, of gold a year, and of course it's impacting on mining production. Also impacts on labour. But today it's we're a platinum producing country, we're a coal producing country, and they remain the dominant mineral exporter.
Only 50,000 kilograms of gold produced in South Africa in a quarter.
I think we're going down to third place. I think China ahead. It's not that China produces that more. We're just falling below them now.
We keep dropping in 10%. And David, the other story, and this is one of those points that at the time InfraSource, when it listed, that was back in July 2007, we were very skeptical on this program. We thought that their projections were ridiculous, and indeed they've turned out to be. In
Ridiculous.
2007, they came with predictions for 2009, the financial year that has just ended for them at the end of March. With headline earnings per share, they said, would be sitting at 51 cents. They came today with 17 cents. They said the turnover would be 340 million. They produced today their figures 240 million. This is appalling, because they went to the market and actually raised nearly 300 million rand on the strength of nonsense numbers. Now, is there no way that a shareholder who's put money into this company based on projections that are rubbish can get his money back?
Well, I think the warning sign is don't believe projections. I think that's the worry when companies come to the market. You've got to be very, very careful. So many companies have let us down, particularly those have been listed. Even some of the construction companies are not producing anywhere near the kind of projections.
This is another of those.
Well, this is a mining,
companies.
sure. It's mining, it's construction.
But it mines construction materials, remember, and that was supposed to be a big thing. But I think we need to name and shame the advisors here: Nedbank Capital, Moores Rowland, and H.R. Levine. And really, guys, this is just not good enough. You've put your name behind absolute nonsense forecasts from this company, and hopefully next time you'll think a little bit more carefully.
But Alec, they raised money on that basis. They raised money on selling a story, and you have look. We had it with Verimark, who are now taking their company off. For 1 year they managed to maintain the numbers, and then for 3 years afterwards, shocking results. Sure, the vendors came out making money, but everybody else not. So you've got to be very, very careful for IPOs, for new companies. Just go back to Buffett, ask him if he ever buys an IPO. Answer, never.
And the chief executive of this company, if you remember, was a 34-year-old by the name of Leroux Roots. Well, he's nowhere around. The shares were sold to the public at R5.50. They're trading at 73 cents today. And the spokesman, they call him the executive company spokesman, who, by the way, put out a statement. They put out their results saying InfraSource weathers global economic storm. Thanks, nothing about losing money for shareholders. It's a gentleman called Walter Stander, who was unavailable despite our very best efforts.